Maintenance schedules on road bikes and mountain bikes. Who knew? Let's get on topic. Hey everybody, it's Thomas with Get Out Arizona, and you are watching another fabulous episode of Toolbox Topic. I'm joined once again by my co-host Brandon Van Loob. And Brandon, how the hell are you?
Good morning. Good morning.
Once again, we're at Trek Bicycle Stores of West Phoenix in Goodyear, Arizona, where the cool kids hang out, and me. And today, thanks to one of our loyal viewers, God, he's been with us since the beginning, Obi-Wan Kenobi, giving us the suggestion on bike maintenance schedules. That's what the video is about. Who knew there was an actual maintenance schedule that you could follow to take care of your bike? But it's not that cut and dry, okay?
Yeah.
Unlike a car dealership where you're like, oh, you change the oil every 5,000 miles and, you know, your transmission fluid at this interval or that interval. One, a lot of them are part specific, manufacturer specific, and series specific. But two, a lot of them are just based on how much you ride and the feel and the necessity and stuff like that. So we're going to get into that right now and try to explain as much as we can. There will be plenty of times where we go to the manufacturer's website, because at the end of the day, that's just true. A table set, my friends, and we're not going to bore you with an 8-hour episode on everything. So let's get down to the nitty gritty. Brandon, let's start with what I think is probably 1 and 2 as far as most neglected, and that's the suspension. And that's our hub sets. As far as suspension goes, what are we looking at? Now, I know for my specific suspension, it's every 60 hours.
Right. So that's the nice thing. Actually, Fox, RockShox, they do the best job of telling you
they do
when to perform preventative maintenance on every model and what should be done by the hour.
Yeah.
With a little asterisk somewhere that says, or as needed.
As needed.
So it's awesome to follow those grids of maintenance. But another thing that you want to look out for, and please forgive me, this is the only fork that I had laying around.
Right.
This thing's a turd, to be quite honest with you, and it's not even an air shock, so it doesn't even require service. But just so you get the idea.
You get the idea of the shock, yeah.
Yep, exactly. So one thing that you would want to watch out for, say you're performing all the proper maintenance in due time, the one thing that you would want to keep an eye on would be to look at the seals here.
Right.
If there's any fluids building up in here, if you see any cracks, if you see, typically what you see, especially in Arizona, when you get dust, it'll look muddy around here.
And that means you have some leakage.
You have some leakage. So even though you've done everything you could, maybe you ride super hard, maybe you ride a lot, and that doesn't pertain to you. So you'll have to, at that point, come in for extra maintenance.
Yeah.
And then what you'd want to do then is perform a full overhaul with brand new seals, brand new fluids.
Now, there's going to be a card linked up top because Wyatt and I did a full front suspension rebuild.
Good.
It's linked up top, guys. Really great video, so definitely watch that. But yes, here's the one for RockShox, and Fox has a similar kit as far as that goes.
And these things are kind of, you don't see inside there. You don't see what's going on inside. So this is an example of what happens when, yes, maybe you don't see visual signs that it needs some maintenance, but you also neglect your routine maintenance.
Right.
So what's going on inside there, the oils are breaking down. They're not, they may be contaminated, and you get exactly what you're showing here. Undue wear on the internal parts.
Yeah.
So,
which can lead to a catastrophic failure on the trail, and Lord forbid you have one of those when you're 11 miles into your ride or something like that.
And same with the rear shock as well. We've seen those get blown out as well because the seals just get bad, and next thing you know, all the air's gone, all the fluids are out of there, and you're walking home.
Yeah, and then you're SOL at that point. So, so the next one, like I said, number 1 and number 2, I feel is the hub set. You get a lot of people neglecting the hub set, and then again they go to pedal, and all of a sudden, boop, it's done. Now, I'm notorious. I'm up to 3 hubs now where I've just shredded them. It hasn't even been due to lack of maintenance. Just shredded the crap out of them. But now we're going to kind of do the magic of movies. Hold on, Brandon, because you're going to have to do your little... Your little... Now you got to clap. Remember, you got to clap, so we got to sync. And 3, 2, 1. Yeah. Okay, so let's take a look here at what we got going on. Talk to us, Brandon.
So one thing we have in here, people are very concerned about the bearings. This is a rear hub that I have here. It's a very nice rear hub from an little bit older Bontrager. the bearings, we can typically feel wear, we can feel grittiness when we move them, but what we don't see, what really goes out on us very quickly, is when we neglect to clean the inside of the free hub body. Here's what's going on inside here. This one has a 54 tooth engagement, so you see all these little pawls, very tiny springs, very small movements in all these guys, and you can see this one is a little bit dirty, both in the ring and the pawls here. So what we want to do is also periodically keep these guys clean as well. It's something that we don't hear per se so much. It'll just go out on you. You'll lose some effectiveness in the ratcheting, not the ratcheting, excuse me, but the engagement of these pawls. Because what happens is they stick down, and then you have no forward propulsion on there. So again, one thing we don't see all the time, but we should pay attention to. Did you just say forward propulsion? I said propulsion.
No, that's good word usage. Seriously, usually you make up words. He does. I've got multiple videos where he's just made up words. So that's good.
Yep.
All right.
So that's one thing to think about there. We can't see this all the time, but they do get dirty. They do fail on occasion.
All right. So if you guys are wondering what just happened there, because I'm all about screw it, we'll just go with it. I forgot to hit record. And so most of that was him talking and just a little bit of the actual, but you still get a chance to see that nasty gritty inside as far as that goes. I probably should switch back to caffeinated coffee. Okay, so there's the hubs and the freewheel and everything. And now we have brake fluid.
This is the brake fluid. Yep, absolutely. You can see the difference here. This speaks for itself.
Right.
This is one thing we don't see, but this bad.
Old.
And this is both true of dot fluid and mineral oil fluid. Right. You can't see it happening, you can't feel it happening.
Right.
But once in a while we'll get a little bit of air in the system, and when we bleed it, it comes out looking like that.
Yep.
Now this is obviously a combination of a lot of different fluids put together, so this is really, really gross.
Nasty.
But you get the idea that stuff also breaks down, it also gets contaminated, and it also will start to affect your braking performance. It might get a little bit of spongy. It also might start working on the internal parts of your brakes if you have especially if you have dot fluid. So keep that stuff fresh as well. We don't see it a lot, but you can see here what's happening.
Right. Now, Shimano hydraulic brakes, correct me if I'm wrong, using mineral oil.
Mineral.
And SRAM are using DOT, a dot fluid. Right. Now, does one require more maintenance than the other? Because I'm sure people are going to ask that question. So is there pros, con advantage to which braking system you use based on maintenance schedule, or is it pretty equal?
It's pretty equal in that respect. I would always say that mineral oil is a better system. Of course, I love Shimano stuff, but the mineral oil is less aggressive on your internal parts.
Right.
So I feel like the Shimano parts last a little bit longer because that dot fluid isn't just being caustic against the internals.
Yeah, it'll eat the paint right off your frame, guys. So be careful when you're doing any type of maintenance on it. So, okay, well, and that's just, I think for some people, they might go, hey, is there advantage to going one over the other as far as the maintenance interval?
Not as far as performance is concerned, no.
Now, I could say having my brakes bled a few times, and we got another great video, and I would try to link another card up there, but definitely check that out, where I know how my brakes should feel. And so after a few, 500, 600, 700 miles, and they start to feel that, first inspect the pads, which we did a short video on, and then if the pads are okay, all right, now I'm bringing it in to have them bled and the fluid change. So really depends on how often you ride and the terrain that you're riding. We're in the Southwest desert, guys. Everything is hostile here, whether we're up north or we're down here in the valley, where people in the Pacific Northwest may not have as much of an issue with their braking system, but they may have to maintenance their hubs more because it's more muddy or something like that. So, so remember, these are going to be region specific, some of these, but at the end of the day, consult your local bike shop and consult the manufacturer's website for a detailed breakdown of when you should do maintenance. Some other things, dropper posts, how often do those need to be maintained, and do they need to be maintained?
I would say just keep them as clean as possible, especially the stanchions. Same thing goes with the forks and shocks. As long as you can keep the stanchions as clean as possible. Same thing with the droppers. Droppers, they give you plenty of time. You can tell there's things starting to come up a little slow. They give you a lot of warning.
I've had that.
And then it's time to bring it in.
Yeah, so
it gives you hints.
Yeah, don't wait when you feel that rebound really start to lag. Just order the rebuild kit and get it done, or else you'll be squatted down and still have 12 miles to go. And you're like, so
it's tough on the thighs, tough on the knees.
What else? I mean, we've covered the major stuff, I think. We got the hubs, the suspension, the brakes, the dropper.
These are the big ones. These are the big ones. I mean, everything is on a case-to-case basis. If you feel anything.
Drivetrain. I mean, we've talked about the drivetrain. You can't see
inside your cables, but you can feel, if you're in tune to your bike, if you have any kind of mechanical ability, you can tell when things are starting to deteriorate in their performance, and it's time to bring them in.
Well, even the drivetrain, and we've talked about that, very simple. Doing the cleaning the chain and the lubrication, and just lightly cleaning the cassette. You don't have to full-blown clean it, what that can do to the longevity. And I can tell when I've been lazy on it, I'll hear that click or it misses a shift or something. It's not cable stretch, it's because my drivetrain isn't clean. And I know as soon as I get home, I get on it and everything. Because depending on the drivetrain you have, from XXO to Durace or XTR or something like that, that stuff, almost cursed, that stuff ain't cheap to replace, especially when we talk about the chain and stuff like that, and a couple $100 on the high-end stuff. So that would definitely be a case-to-case basis, though, too, is how often you ride your bike and the conditions in which you're riding your bike in. So all of it, sure, there's a schedule, guys, but for the most part,
pay attention. I would say that's the biggest thing about this whole thing. Just pay attention to your stuff. Yep, exactly.
Common sense. Yep. I can think of twice where I've been asked out on the trail to my own fault because I should have heeded the warning signs and didn't. And luckily, I wasn't too far away from my vehicle. So, but still, lesson learned.
Point in case I had a customer who lost 3 chain rings. 3 of the 4 chain ring bolts were gone, and he asked me, "How does this happen?" I had to be up front. It's like, dude, this thing was giving you warning signs probably for hundreds of miles that you were losing chainring bolts.
Completely ignored.
So you got to be conscious of what your machine is doing.
Yeah. Before you go out, check all the pivot points and everything. We've had that discussion. Make sure everything's tightened up where it needs to be. Give your tires a spin. Ghost pedal a little bit. If you don't have a stand, just kind of hold it up and do your best. These are things you can do. I would almost equate it to a commercial truck driver who has to do that initial inspection every time before they go, just to make sure it's safe. Do it on your bike, guys. You're riding. You're on the road. You're on the trail.
Sounds like another episode.
Yeah, possibly. The Lord have mercy. Where obviously we want you to be safe. We don't want you to get stranded and something happen to you. So just take a little extra time, and it'll pay dividends. So, man, at that point, Brandon, I think we've covered it for the most part. Obi-Wan, thank you very much.
Open to a lot of questions.
Yeah, a lot of questions. Comment down below for sure. Obi-Wan, thank you very much for the suggestion on the episode. We definitely appreciate it. Any of you guys have suggestions on other episodes, let us know. We will do our best to acquiesce and get those made. Like, subscribe, bell notification. It's the Trinity, the trifecta. Helps out the video, helps out the channel. Link for Truck Bicycle Stores of West Phoenix down below. If you have any questions, feel free to follow the link. Give Brandon and his team a call. They're an amazing group. Social media, Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, the devil's work, but it's necessary to get the word out for Get Out Arizona. We also announce our group hikes, our group rides, and other shenanigans. So follow us, throw us some love there as well. Links down below, our affiliate links now through Amazon. If you make a qualifying purchase, we receive a small commission. You do not get charged any additional money, and it helps out with park passes, gas money, and coffee money. So on that note, my friends, what do we say? Be kind to yourself and others, be amazing stewards on the trail, and we have to ask, what are you waiting for?
Get Out Arizona.
Yeah. We'll see you guys on that next adventure. Take care, everybody. Brandon, we'll see you next week.
Yep.